What if I told you that the single biggest financial mistake most Americans make when buying a home is the one thing everyone tells you to do first? What if the advice your parents gave you, the advice your bank gave you, the advice that feels like common sense is actually costing you tens of thousands of dollars? I know that sounds crazy. I know it goes against everything you've been taught, but stick with me here because by the end of this video, you're going to see the housing game in a completely different way. And trust me, you won't want to miss what I'm about to show you. Let's start with the story. Picture this: Sarah and Mike, regular couple, both working, both saving like crazy. Every birthday, every bonus, every dollar they can scrape together goes into one account, their house fund. They eat out less, they skip vacations, they tell themselves it's all worth it. 5 years of sacrifice, and finally they have it: a full 20% down payment on a $350,000 home. That's $70,000 in cash. They hand it over to the bank, they sign the papers, they get the keys, and everyone claps. Everyone says congratulations. It feels like winning. But here's what nobody told Sarah and Mike. The moment they handed over that $70,000, they made themselves poorer, not richer, poorer. And I'm going to prove it to you right now. Okay, so before I get into the real stuff, let me ask you something. When was the last time you questioned advice that everyone around you just accepts as true? Because most people don't. Most people hear save for a down payment and they just nod along. It sounds responsible, it sounds smart. And the banks, the real estate agents, the financial advisors, they all seem to be on the same page, so it must be right, right? Wrong. And the reason it's wrong is something called opportunity cost. Now, don't let that phrase scare you. It's actually a really simple idea. Opportunity cost just means this: every dollar you spend in one place is a dollar you can't use somewhere else. And when you lock up $70,000 in a down payment on a house, you lose all the other things that money could have done for you. And those other things, they're worth a lot more than you think. Here's where it gets really interesting. Let's talk about what money actually does when it moves. When you put $70,000 into a down payment on a house, that money stops moving. It's frozen. It's sitting inside the walls of your house, not working for you, not growing, not doing anything. Your house might go up in value over time, sure, but you don't get to touch that value. You can't pay your grocery bill with it. You can't invest it. You can't use it in an emergency without taking out another loan. That money is trapped. But what if instead of handing over $70,000 to the bank, you put it to work? What if you invested that money in the stock market? Historically, the S&P 500 has returned about 10% per year on average. That means $70,000 left alone for 10 years would grow to roughly $181,000. You didn't work for that extra $111,000. Your money worked for you, but only if you don't bury it in a down payment first. Now I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, okay, but if I don't put 20% down, I have to pay PMI. And yes, that's true. PMI stands for Private Mortgage Insurance. It's the extra fee your lender charges when your down payment is less than 20%. And people hate PMI. They treat it like the enemy. But here's the thing nobody tells you. PMI is actually cheap, like really cheap. On a $350,000 home, PMI might cost you around $100 to $150 a month. That's maybe $1,500 a year. And once you've built up 20% equity in the home, whether through paying down the loan or the home going up in value, PMI goes away. Done. Gone. So let's do the math together. You keep your $70,000 instead of handing it to the bank. You invest it. Over 10 years at a 10% average return, it grows to $181,000. You paid PMI during that time, which cost you maybe $15,000 total over 10 years. So you paid $15,000 in PMI, but you gained $111,000 in investment returns. That's a net gain of $96,000, almost $100,000, just by not putting a down payment on your house. Are you starting to see it now? The game is rigged in a way that most people never realize, and the people who win at this game, they understand one thing that most people don't. Your home is not an investment. Let me say that again. Your home is not an investment. I know that's a hard thing to hear. We've been told our whole lives that buying a home is the greatest investment you'll ever make. But here's the truth. An investment is something that puts money in your pocket. Your house doesn't do that. Your house takes money out of your pocket every month. Property taxes, maintenance, insurance, mortgage payments. Your house is what rich people call a liability, not an asset. The equity inside your house is basically dead money. It doesn't earn interest. It doesn't pay dividends. It just sits there. Now, I'm not saying don't buy a house. Owning a home is amazing. Stability, community, roots for your family. That stuff is priceless. What I'm saying is don't tie up all your liquid cash in the walls of that house when that cash could be out there making you wealthy. Let me introduce you to something called leverage. Leverage is one of the most powerful tools in finance, and most regular people never use it. Here's how it works in real estate. When you buy a $350,000 home with a 3.5% down payment, that's about $12,250, the bank covers the rest. You now control a $350,000 asset with only $12,250 of your own money. If that house goes up in value by 5%, it's now worth $367,500. You made $17,500 in equity gains, but you only put in $12,250. That's a return of over 140% because you used leverage. You used the bank's money to grow your wealth. Compare that to the person who put $70,000 down. Their house also went up by 5%. They also made $17,500 in equity gains, but they had $70,000 locked up to earn that $17,500. That's only a 25% return on their invested capital. So the person who put less money down actually got a better return on their investment. Counterintuitive? Yes. True? Absolutely. This is why real estate investors, the people who actually get rich in this game, almost never use their own money. They use as little of their own money as possible and let the bank do the heavy lifting. They understand that the goal is not to own a house free and clear as fast as possible. The goal is to keep your capital free so it can grow, multiply, and work for you in multiple places at once. But wait, there's another layer to this, and this one really gets people. Think about what happens when life throws a curveball at you. Let's say you put that full $70,000 into your down payment. You're in the house, you're making your mortgage payments, then suddenly you lose your job, or someone in the family gets sick, or your roof caves in, or your water heater blows up, or your car dies and you need a new one to get to work. These things happen. They happen to everyone. Life doesn't care about your mortgage schedule. If you put all your cash into a down payment, you have no cushion. You have no emergency fund. You are completely exposed. And if you miss a few mortgage payments, you know what the bank does? They don't care how much equity you have. They don't care that you've been a great homeowner. They start the foreclosure process. You could lose the whole house, the very thing you sacrificed for years to buy. But if you kept that $70,000 or most of it, you have a cushion, you have freedom, you can weather the storm without losing your home. Cash isn't just money. Cash is security. Cash is options. Cash is the ability to say, I can handle whatever comes at me. And when you hand all of it to the bank on day one, you give up that power. Now, here's something else the banks know but don't advertise. The first several years of your mortgage payments, almost all of it goes to interest, not to your actual loan balance. This is called amortization, and it's set up entirely in the bank's favor. On a $350,000 mortgage at a 7% interest rate, your monthly payment might be around $2,300. Of that $2,300, in the very first month, roughly $2,000 goes straight to the bank as interest. Only about $300 goes toward actually reducing what you owe. $300 out of $2,300. So when you make that big down payment thinking you're getting ahead, you're actually just reducing the size of a loan that you're paying mostly in interest anyway for the next several years. The bank already wins. The down payment just makes you feel better psychologically without actually changing the game that much in your favor. Okay, so what should you actually do? Here's the playbook. Put down the minimum required. If you qualify for an FHA loan, that's 3.5% down. Some conventional loans allow 3% down. Some programs, especially for first-time buyers, offer down payment assistance or even zero down. Use them. Don't feel ashamed about it. These programs exist for a reason. Keep the rest of your money liquid and invest it. Put it in an index fund that tracks the S&P 500. Don't try to pick stocks, don't try to time the market. Just set it, leave it, and let compound interest do the work. Set up automatic contributions. Treat it like a bill you pay every month. In 10, 15, 20 years, you will be shocked at what that money turns into. Build a real emergency fund, not house equity, actual cash, liquid, in a high-yield savings account. 3 to 6 months of expenses minimum. This is your safety net. This is what keeps you from losing everything when life gets hard. Understand your mortgage. Learn what your interest rate actually means. Understand amortization. Know when PMI goes away and how to remove it. Don't just sign and forget. Your mortgage is one of the biggest financial contracts of your life. Know every detail of it. And stop listening to people who profit from your down payment. The bank wants your down payment because it reduces their risk. The real estate agent gets paid based on the sale price, not your financial well-being. The advice you're getting from these people is not neutral. It's tilted toward their benefit. The people who actually build wealth in this country are the ones who learn to think for themselves, question conventional wisdom, and understand how money actually works. Now, I'm not saying everyone should do zero down. There are situations where a bigger down payment makes sense. If you're buying in a really expensive market and you need to lower your monthly payment just to qualify, it might make sense. If you have so much cash that investing it wouldn't meaningfully change your wealth picture, fine. If you're buying your forever home and psychological peace of mind matters more to you than the math, I respect that too. Personal finance is personal. But for most first-time buyers, most working Americans, stretching and sacrificing to scrape together a giant down payment while their investing accounts sit empty, the math is clear. The conventional wisdom is hurting you. Let's bring it back to Sarah and Mike for a second. What if they had done things differently? What if instead of saving $70,000 over 5 years, they had put down $12,000, just 3.5%, and invested the rest? What if that $58,000 had been growing in the market this whole time? What if they had an emergency fund, a growing investment portfolio, and the same house? They'd be in a completely different financial position, not just a little better, a lot better. The version of the American dream we've been sold, save forever, sacrifice everything, make the biggest down payment you can, was built by and for people who profit from it. The banks, the mortgage industry, the real estate complex. They benefit when your cash is locked inside a house instead of working for you. You don't. The real American dream is financial freedom, the ability to cover your life, the ability to build real wealth, the ability to sleep at night knowing that if something goes wrong, you can handle it. And that dream is way more achievable when your money is working for you, not buried in the walls of your house. So before you drain your savings account for a down payment, run the numbers. Look at what you could do with that money if you invested it instead. Look at low down payment loan options in your area. Talk to a fee-only financial advisor, one who charges a flat fee, not one who earns a commission off your decisions. Ask questions. Challenge the advice you've been given. Because the people who get ahead financially are the ones who stop doing what everyone else does and start doing what actually works. You've been lied to about the down payment, but now you know the truth, and knowing the truth changes everything. If this video helped you see things differently, share it with someone who's saving up for a down payment right now. They need to see this. Drop a comment below and tell me, are you team big down payment or are you rethinking it after watching this? I read every single comment. And if you want more real talk about money, mortgages, and building actual wealth, hit that subscribe button because there is so much more to cover. And trust me, some of it is going to surprise you even more than this did.